ahead and call this meeting to order for the January 26, 2023 meeting of the Apple Valley City Council. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. For any members in the audience who have signed up to speak, when your name is called, please approach the podium to address the council. The first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask everyone to rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. The second item on our agenda is to approve the agenda. And Tom, do we have any changes this evening?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening. No changes to tonight's agenda.
All right, we have no changes. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Grendall and a second from Councilmember Goodwin. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, agenda carries. The next item on our agenda is the audience participation portion of the meeting. This is for items not on the regular or not on the agenda. Pam tells me we don't have anyone who has signed up to speak, but we will offer it anyway. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this section of the meeting? Seeing none, we will close the audience participation portion and move on with our consent agenda. These items are considered routine and will be enacted with a single motion unless a council member or a citizen requests to pull an item. Council members, are there any items you would like to pull? Seeing none, citizens, are there any items you would like to pull? All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Melander and a second from Councilmember Goodwin. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Consent carries unanimously. Excuse me. The first item on our regular agenda is the introductions and oaths of office of Deputy Police Chief Greg Dahlstrom, Police Lieutenants Alan Spillers, and Zauhar. So, Chief Francis has this item. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. An exciting night here for us tonight. Typically, when we're in front of you, we are introducing brand new employees that are kind of new to the department, but also we want to make sure you are aware as the changes go on and the promotions are made of who is representing you at a leadership level. And so tonight, I'm going to invite Deputy Chief Greg Dahlstrom up and Lieutenants Alan Spillers and Sean Zauhar. Come on up here by me. I'll introduce them. They're going to take a new oath with their new offices, and then we'll also have their families come up and pin their new badges on them. So I'll start with Greg Dahlstrom on the end there. He is your deputy chief. He's familiar to you. He's worked here for a long time. But going way back, he grew up in St. Paul. Not quite as good as South St. Paul, but a close second to that. So St. Paul, a proud St. Paul kid. He's got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire and a master's degree from the University of St. Thomas. He started his career in law enforcement in the state of Wisconsin. I'm not sure if he's still a Packers fan or if he ever was or anything, but back in 2001, and in Wisconsin he worked for Chippewa County, Fall Creek, and North Hudson Police Departments. He spent about 5 years over there, came to Apple Valley in 2005, and began his career here in Minnesota. On the patrol level, he served as a patrol officer on our special enforcement team, as a detective on the drug task force, on the SWAT team as well. He served as a sergeant from 2012 to 2019 and was promoted to captain in 2019 and served in that role until 2022, where he was promoted to deputy chief. He also teaches firearms for Rasmussen College on the side, and that's one of our really good recruiting techniques, is getting some of us teaching in the college level and getting at these students before they're on the market. An interesting fact about Deputy Chief Dahlstrom, he loves to fish. So if he's not here at work or at a hockey rink or a baseball field, you may find him out on a lake, either in a boat or with big boots on and out ice fishing. And I'll let him come over and just introduce who his special guests are with him tonight.
To be honest with you, the chief says that I'm going to steal his thunder, but we don't have any type of career in law enforcement without the people that stand beside us and behind us. So, my family, stand up.
My family.
I'm not sure who else here. Well, and the same for our partners and colleagues here at the police department. This doesn't happen, leadership doesn't happen with the people that really are the core of what we do. So, thanks, Chief.
Next up, Lieutenant Spillers, come on over. Grew up just over the border in Burnsville, and he has a bachelor's degree in law enforcement from Mankato State University. I also have a bachelor's degree in law enforcement from Mankato State University, and we were actually in college and skills together and started on the same day here with the police department. Actually, there was 3 of us from the same college and skills. Two of us remain, and one does not here. He began his career in Apple Valley at the Apple Valley Police Department back in 2000. Served as patrol officer on the SWAT team, as a drug task force agent, and also a field training officer for a long time. He was promoted to sergeant in 2018, handled the purchasing, equipment, fleet inventory, and one of the reasons why we wanted to move a lot of those things to the administrative level is because of how good of a job Lieutenant Spillers did as a sergeant, working with all those things. And that's one of the reasons why when we reorganized, we moved because we have so much more equipment, things are so much more perishable, we have so many electronics, and it's so difficult to maintain all that, and he's done just a fantastic job. And so he was promoted to lieutenant here in 2022. An interesting fact about Lieutenant Spillers, I wrote this, he's a prominent at-home chef, creating many culinary masterpieces. So like when I go and say, yeah, I grilled some burgers last night, he will talk about some type of garlic infused stuffed burgers that he makes, and not just a frozen burger. So a very good chef, and I'll let him introduce who's with him tonight. I know you have some people watching online as well.
Yeah, I do. I have my council members, mayor. I want to just say thank you guys for the opportunity to represent the city of Apple Valley. I think Sergeant Captain Chief now, Francis. I'm sorry. Embellishes my role as a chef. What I would like to actually do is introduce my wife, Tara, my daughter, Josephine, and my son, Darby, if you guys wouldn't mind standing up for me. And my parents are watching online in Arizona, so they're smart enough to get out of town.
Oh, it's only 32 there, I think.
Yeah. Lieutenant Sean Zauhar, come on up. So Sean's a new face to all of you, but a little background on him. He grew up in the Brainerd Lakes area and still has a lot of ties up there. Sean's academic career is long and storied. He's got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from St. Cloud State University, a master's degree in police leadership from the University of St. Thomas, and a PhD in philosophy from Walden University. So when we talk about wanting to be a lifelong learner and have lifelong learners, we have another person here that's advocating for that and is living that. Sean started his law enforcement career with the Shakopee Police Department back in 2001. He worked as a patrol officer there until 2009. In 2009, he moved up to St. Paul and worked as a St. Paul police officer from 2009 to 2016. He was promoted to sergeant in 2016. As his time up in St. Paul as a sergeant, served primarily in the training division and helped develop a lot of training and overseeing the academies. And I do have my vest on because I know there's at least one person here from St. Paul that's not necessarily happy that we took Sean away from once news broke that Sean was coming down, I got plenty of calls and text messages telling me that they weren't too happy that we were stealing him away. But we're super happy to have Sean down here. He's also instructs use of force at Rasmussen, and so he teaches with Deputy Chief Dahlstrom. One teaches firearms, the other teaches use of force, but they see the same students coming through, and again, really good recruiting for us. He instructs at Rasmussen, serves as adjunct professor at University of St. Thomas and Metro State University. Interesting fact about Sean is he's a Golden Gloves boxer. He's a title holder in kind of the Midwest and a long-time jiu-jitsu trainer. So as he explained to us that he played some sports, kind of organized growing up, and then his parents moved him into boxing, which they thought was maybe going to be safer, but we're not sure if it was or not for him. Yeah. And I'll let Sean tell you who's out here supporting him tonight.
Well, it's great to meet everybody. I just can't be more thankful than to thank Chief Francis and Deputy Chief Dahlstrom for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Apple Valley. And I hope my experience from St. Paul and my years of down Shakopee I can bring to better the department and the community. But I'd like to highlight my supportive wife, as she's endured three different job changes over 20 years, plus my amateur boxing career that I tried to resurrect at 34. Not the best life decision. Incredibly supportive.
I did cool.
And I couldn't have done any of these things without her. And going back to my PhD program that she regrets that I ever did to begin with, the 5 years of pain that was. But you can stand up, my wife Corey, my daughter Emma, my other daughter Mia, and then my mother-in-law Ellie.
I just want to make sure we note a bunch of our staff and staff from partner agencies in the back too. A sign of a great department is when folks come out to support each other. Some of these folks are working, obviously many of them are not, and they come to support these folks and wish them the best as they're kind of entering the new adventures at the police department. So we really want to appreciate everyone back there that's not only in here in the council chambers with us, but they're out on the street protecting everybody. So. I think you want to do the oaths?
This way. Works too.
Please raise your right hand and repeat with me the oath of city office. I
Greg Dahlstrom.
do solemnly swear
That I will
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Minnesota, and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of
Deputy Police Chief of the
City of Apple Valley in the County of Dakota and the state of Minnesota to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God. Please raise your right hand and read with me the oath of city office.
I, Alan Spiller Zauhar,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Minnesota, and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Police Lieutenant of the City of Apple Valley in the County of Dakota and the state of Minnesota to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
We'll invite these guys' families or designees to come up and pin their new badges on them here. I'll get out of the way here once.
No.
So yeah, I just want to take one more time to congratulate these folks and just thank you guys for your support and for allowing us to come up here and formally recognize them because you'll be seeing a lot more of them and probably in this format, memos, leadership, videos, all that other stuff. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. I've said this before, but it bears repeating. We are exceptionally proud of all the work everyone does, and you prove that out day in and day out, and this last week has certainly shown us more of that. Thank you for your work this last week. It's not just what you do, it's how you do it. So there's the big stuff that hits the press releases, and then there's the small stuff like running home an elderly couple after a car accident on Cedar, and it all matters, and it's all part of their reputation and all what we're super proud of. So thank you all for what you do. I think we'll let everybody, you probably want a little time to let everybody clear out and go celebrate. So we'll give you a little time to do that before we move on. So.
It's gonna be interesting to watch. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. We'll go ahead and get started with our next item, and Kathy is going to walk us through item 5B, which is the Central Maintenance Facility 2022 expansion.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. The petitioner for this item is the City of Apple Valley as property owner and business located in the city. The City of Apple Valley wishes to expand and update the Central Maintenance Facility, CMF, at 6442 140th Street West. The expansion project includes the following elements: demolition of an existing warm storage building, expansion of 4 building areas totaling 45,500 square feet, and then various site updates and improvements. So in order to do that, 6 actions are requested this evening. Planning Commission resolution, 4 variances, and then site plan review building permit authorization. The CMF property, again, is located at 6442 140th Street, southwest corner of Flagstaff Avenue and 140th Street. Property is currently guided in the comprehensive plan, INS, for institutional uses and is correspondingly zoned P, institutional. This is a view of the site, oblique aerial looking from the east, looking west. Buildings closest to us, Flagstaff is running left to right, with 140th here on the right-hand side. Right is to the right. The storage building that would be removed is here, and then the main public works building here is on the top of the slide. So existing conditions, the CMF property is 19.4 acres and sits and a large pipeline easement bisects the site and shown in orange here at 75 feet wide. And it does kind of hinder opportunities or options for developing the site, which we'll talk about later. So the first part of the project, removing that 15,000 square foot warm storage building. And then as far as building additions, the office, 1,381 square feet, Parks Truck, 1,040 square feet, an attached vehicle storage building, 24,818 square feet, and then that standalone fleet maintenance building for replacing the warm storage at 18,240 square feet. In addition to the building improvements, as I said, site improvements are planned. One of the big ones is adding a dedicated right turn lane into the site, help to kind of quit some of the conflicts with traffic on 140th. Pedestrian link is added to tie the building to the trail. The second access on 140th is closed, and visitor staff parking is added. An off-site storm pond is also improved. Grading, drainage, and utilities, the civil engineer on the project will be the city's city engineer. So the city engineer will be overseeing all aspects of the design of the site grading, drainage, and utilities. Landscape plan, city code requires that value of landscape plantings in an institutional zoning district must meet 2.5% of the value of construction of the building. So natural resources staff have been working to make some updates and convert some turf areas to pollinator attractive areas. Some of the other things that are being explored, permeable pavers and some of the parking areas, and then public and fleet charging stations are also being explored. So a nice, robust plan. Elevations, the front office building will be remodeled to update the exterior. The whole front will be updated. Existing metal banding will be removed, so that kind of teal theme that's on the building now will be removed and redone. The exterior building materials, primarily pre-finished metal panel systems and pre-finished concrete. The elevations then for the fleet maintenance, similar concrete tip-up panels and metal panel systems. The color renderings help to illustrate the building addition. So this is the new office addition here. This is more of a view of the front of the building, front main entrance. This is an oblique aerial, so you see the fleet maintenance, the new building storage, or I'm sorry, vehicle storage addition, and then the office addition here. Color rendering showing kind of the interior of the site here, fleet maintenance here to the left, vehicle storage, that new addition is down in the back. And then this is a view of the new fleet maintenance building. You'll notice that it's a taller building. The taller structure is needed to do overhead lifts for the larger maintenance vehicles. So the clear height is needed. So moving on to the actions then that are requested for this evening. Minnesota Statutes 462-356 Subdivision 2 states that no capital improvement may be authorized by municipality unless the planning agency reports in writing that the improvements are consistent with the comprehensive plan. So our planning agency would be the Apple Valley Planning Commission. They looked at the expansion plans in view of the 2040 comprehensive plan and really saw that the project kind of ticks a lot of the key components of the comprehensive plan, ensuring that we're providing good service, a great place to live, safe, perks to experience, healthy and active, sustainable and accessible. So those were findings for the Planning Commission. Then the next 4 items are related to variances. So when the city reviews a variance, they look at the definition of practical difficulties. The property owner wants to use the property in a reasonable manner. Plight of the applicant is due to circumstances unique to the property. Variance will not alter the essential character of the locality, and economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. So that's the first part of a 2-step process. The second then is to look through the lens of the factors. And maybe the most important of these is the granting of the variance will not merely serve as a convenience to the applicant, but is necessary to alleviate practical difficulties. When the Planning Commission reviewed the request, they worked carefully with us line by line on each of the variances. And rather than doing that, what I've kind of done is compiled everything to a single slide. So building coverage variance that's being sought increasing from 20.8 to 22, parking lot setback increase or decreasing from 20 feet to 10, drive aisle circulation from Flagstaff decreasing from 20 feet to 5 feet, and then drive aisle circulation on the west property line 20 feet to 5 feet. When the Planning Commission looked at this, they came up with separate circumstances for each one. I won't go through those separately unless the council wants me to. I do have those on other slides. But maybe to kind of pick the high points of what they had for findings. First, one centralized central maintenance facility best serves the city. Second, additional building space is needed to best meet the city's operational requirements, as noted in the 2019 facility needs assessment study. The 75-foot wide pipeline easement cuts through the middle of the property, which you saw in the one slide. And what that does is it pushes buildings to the edges of the property, and then the supporting drive aisles and circulation lanes are pushed even closer to the property. And lastly, as the city continues to grow, so do the number and size of maintenance vehicles, more lane miles, more utilities, so on and so forth. So larger maintenance vehicles require larger turning radii to move efficiently and effectively to enter and exit the buildings. So with that, Mr. Mayor, the Planning Commission reviewed this item at its December 21st, 2022 meeting, and they voted unanimously to recommend approval of the project based upon certain findings and subject to several conditions. So the following 6 actions then would approve the project in accordance with the Planning Commission's recommendation. And I'd be happy to take questions if there are any.
Thanks, Kathy. Are there any questions for Kathy? If there are not, it looks like we're ready to start making our way through the list of actions. So, we would look for a motion to accept the Apple Valley Planning Commission Resolution 2022-02, finding capital improvements to central maintenance facility conform to the city's 2040 comprehensive plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman and a second from Councilmember Grendel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, that carries unanimously. Item number 2 is to adopt a resolution approving a 1.2% variance to allow increased building coverage from 20.8% to 22%.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Grendel and a second from Goodwin. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, item 2 carries. Item 3 is to adopt a resolution approving a 10-foot variance for parking lot addition setback from 140th Street West from 20 feet to 10 feet.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Goodwin and a second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, item 3 carries. Item 4 is to adopt a resolution approving a 15-foot variance to reduce drive aisle circulation area setback from Flagstaff Avenue from 20 feet to 5 feet.
So moved.
Second.
Give a motion from Councilmember Melander, a second from Councilmember Grendel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, item 4 carries. Item 5 is to adopt a resolution approving a 15-foot variance to reduce drive aisle circulation area setback from west property line from 20 feet to 5 feet.
So moved. Second.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman, a second from Councilmember Grendel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Item 5 carries, and then item 6 is to adopt a resolution approving site plan building permit authorization for 4 building addition projects totaling 45,500 square feet and site improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Grendel, a second from Councilmember Melander. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. And item 6 carries, and Kathy, I think that takes us through all of them. Thank you. All right, next up, we have item 5C, which is to adopt a resolution approving site plan building permit authorization to construct a 5,090 square foot retail building on Lot 2, Block 1, Cobblestone Lake, South Shore 9th. And Alex is already up here and ready to go.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of council. You've already gone through this part. I'll have it at the end as well so you can read. Site is located at the southeast corner of 157th Pilot Knob Road. It is the one of the remaining lots in our Cobblestone development. The site is 0.71 acres. The final plat has already been completed, which is why the City Council is only seeing a site plan building permit authorization. Site did not require any variances, conditional use permits, etc. Park dedication was satisfied as part of the overall Cobblestone development, so that's been completed for the site. It was a very pad-ready site. Two items of note, because they are changed from the Planning Commission's approval. They'd sought conditions to add this pedestrian crossing, which was anticipated with the lot to the north, and then a sidewalk crossing to the south to add pedestrian connectivity to the Cobblestone neighborhood as it was designed as a walkable community. Utility plan is relatively simple. Similar to the park dedication, stormwater was met as part of the Cobblestone development. So unlike most of our projects that you'll see, this one does not have the underground infiltration. Landscape plan, we're still working with the applicant a little bit. We believe that the landscaping is and the diversity of the species is great. They may be slightly under their 2.5%, but we'll see that through a nursery bid list at the building permit. That is a requirement with 2.5 of the means construction cost of the building. Applicant is aware, and so we'll be able to work through that. They've got some additional space. It is set up to be a 2-tenant building at this time. The applicant is present and would be able to share who one of the tenants is. The larger space is a gym user. The western space, the left space there, is an unknown retail user at this time. They will be working to find a user for the future. Planning Commission worked with the applicant diligently to kind of enhance some of the building elevations, so you will see additional building types. I believe it is a good representation of the high standards we have in our Cobblestone neighborhood. The largest changes came to the side east and west elevations. There's a rendering of what the building will look like. There is the potential that it could split into additional tenants in the future depending upon needs, so its life cycle as a building has been well planned for. And with that, if there are any questions, I can stand for some. The applicant is also present if you have questions of them.
Are there any questions from council? I don't see any. Let's go ahead and take the action item, and if the applicant would like to come up and talk about his business or his building, that would be fine. So with that, we would look for a motion to to adopt a resolution approving a site plan building permit authorization to construct a 5,090 square foot retail building on Lot 2, Block 1, Cobblestone Lake, South Shore, 9th Edition.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Melander, a second from Councilmember Grendel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That item carries unanimously. And does the applicant have anything to add, or would you like to come forward and introduce yourself? Feel free.
Good evening. My name is Eric Stranu with Cedar Corporation. We're the architects and civil engineers on the project representing the ownership group tonight. At this time, the gym that they're looking at is it's called F45. That is the intended gym, and then the smaller space is a tenant they're still looking for at this time. Other than that, they're very excited to get the project going and making it happen.
Great, thank you. Glad to see that last lot filled as well.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
thank you all.
Nice looking
Appreciate it.
building.
Welcome.
All right, that brings us to staff and council communications. And Tom, anything for staff communication?
Mr. Mayor, yes, we have two items tonight that would both be by our Park and Recreation Director, Eric Carlson. A couple of topics that the community should be reminded of.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just want to give a little update to you and most importantly to the community about the progress and the consideration for a potential parks bond referendum. Council is well aware of this item, but this last week we got some information out on our website and just want to share that with the community and encourage people to go to our website and look at that information so that they can become informed. So the Park and Recreation Commission has been working for the last number of months on a potential parks bond referendum, and they've been engaging the community in a number of ways. And they've been looking at updating our parks and trails, reinvesting in some of our recreation facilities, creating new park master plans for some of our parks, and then making sure that we're protecting and enhancing our natural resources. This is the list of potential projects that is under consideration and that we're asking residents to educate themselves about. And I won't go through those or talk about the numbers per se this evening, but again, I encourage residents to go to our website and look at this information. And so again, encourage residents to go to our website, www.cityofapplevalley.org. All of this information and more can be found there, so people understand what is under consideration. We also will have a number of open houses where people can either come to attend a virtual meeting or come in to an in-person meeting. We have a number of dates, different times of the day, so hopefully people can participate, ask questions, and become informed. This information is on the website as well. This is all leading up to the City Council authorizing a statistically accurate community survey, which would be taking place in early March. And really what we're trying to find out are Apple Valley residents supportive of a potential parks bond referendum? If yes, what projects might they be supportive of? And if yes, how much of a tax increase would residents be willing to support? Some of the next steps, and just want to remind everyone, at this point, we're still gathering information and we haven't made any final decisions yet about our referendum. The list that I showed earlier, we won't be able to do all of those projects. It's a pretty long list, and if you added all the numbers together, it's a pretty expensive list. So we will need to prioritize what's the most important. The master plans that are shown is on the website are conceptual in nature, and the projects that may be included as a part of a successful referendum will have additional public input before they become final. The results of the phone survey will help guide our next steps in this process. And if we go to a referendum, we've been planning for a Tuesday, November 7th, 2023 referendum. And so we'd encourage residents to stay engaged, stay informed, and please talk to your neighbors about this so everyone knows what's under consideration. And if anyone has questions, if they want to chat, if they want to send me an email, I'd welcome a phone call, I'd welcome an email. I'd be more than happy to talk to individuals or groups of people, again, so that they're informed and they know what's under consideration. And that's all I have on that topic. Happy to answer any questions.
A list of dates is also out on the website for those who may have missed it as you scrolled past, correct?
Correct.
Thank you for getting a weekend date or two in there as well.
No problem. Then the next item is going to be an overhead, if we can switch to the overhead camera, and that's just to give the community one last City Council meeting reminder about the upcoming Midwinter Fest scheduled for Saturday, February 4th. Right now, the weather would suggest that this next week is going to be chilly, but by next Saturday, the weather should warm up. The weather forecast will probably change 15 times before we actually get to Saturday, so no guarantees that it's going to be a beautiful day, but I'm hoping it'll be a nice day on Saturday, February 4th. And we'd invite the community to come to Johnny Cake Park West. They're right behind Eastview High School. There's lots of fun family activities. There's lots of things going on. We're going to have some live music. There's going to be food trucks. And all of this is made possible because we have some great sponsors. The Apple Valley Rotary, the Apple Valley Hockey Association, Eastview Hockey Association, and then the Apple Valley Arts Foundation. So this information can also be found on our website. And so we'd encourage the residents to come out and join us for some fun. And the night will be capped off by a band, Scary Newman, and then some fireworks. So that's what I have for the council this evening.
He's not making it up. It looks like a pretty nice day on Saturday the 4th so far.
Right now.
That's...
Take a screenshot and don't change it.
Councilmember Bergman.
Thanks, Mayor. For Councilmember Grendel, I've been advised today that your foot warmers and your hand warmers are already lined up for you.
Oh, good, thank you.
No excuses. Any other items, Tom? Council, any items for communication? Seeing none, we'll move on to the calendar of upcoming events. Our next informal city council meeting is Thursday, February 9th at 5:30. And our next regular city council meeting is Thursday, February 9th at 7 p.m. I take a motion to approve the calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Grendel and a second from Councilmember Goodwin. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. And we will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you. We stand adjourned.